Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Lori. And today I'm going to talk to you about how you're kind of hurting yourself, right? Like, you know how you blame other people for hurting you, which we've talked about a million times, that a human being doesn't have the ability to hurt you as an adult. And you can say, yeah, they do. No. Hear me out on it. They don't, because they're creating an action or words and you attach your emotion to it, right? And obviously the first time you're going to be a little taken aback, right? You're going to be like, holy cow. But if you keep seeing what somebody is telling you about themselves, you have to believe who they are, right? Stop saying that you're upset and you don't understand why somebody isn't changing. Why do you think that they should change? Which is exactly what I want to talk to you about. Is you're allowing yourself to be upset, angry, and hurt because you want it to be a certain way that it isn't. So you're not accepting the situation for what it is. You're hurt or angry that the situation isn't how you want it to be. And listen, you're going to have to just adjust. Like, there's not a magic pill. People say, well, can't I just get over it? You got to work through it. You know, I mean, listen, when I tell you I understand that, I was hoping I was adopted. I was trying to figure out why I didn't have like a mom that was healthy, a dad that didn't drink. Like, you know, why couldn't I have these parents? And why couldn't this family be the way that I thought it should be? But if you live in that space of feeling upset that a situation isn't how it is, you can't find growth there. And then you'll sit there and you'll harbor resentment. Other relationships will become codependent. Various things will happen. So I want you to be very clear in the perspective that some of you being hurt is on you because it's how you want the situation to be. And the reality is, the situation is what it is. I've said this multiple times. It literally is what it is. You don't have to like it and you don't have to rock with it. If someone isn't in alignment with you and they're not doing actions or cultivating a certain relationship that you seek, that's fine. That's great. That's how you know, hey, this doesn't really align with me. And if it doesn't align with you, you don't have to stick it with it. Now you could say, oh man, this kind of sucks. I was kind of hoping that my relationship with my siblings would be better, or my parents, or my spouse would be better, or my kids. Great. We could all want that, but you can't control other human beings. And when you try to insert your need for comfort with a situation, that becomes ego. So you have to be careful and realize that a lot of that pain is almost it is self-inflicted because you want it to be a certain way that it isn't. Or sometimes, you know, you could be like, wow, this situation started out great. Unless it's a relationship, you know, in the beginning it was great. And then it just like went down the tubes. Well, we're going to do a whole podcast on that too. Because if somebody's coming in so hot and like, oh my God, I'm infatuated, I'm in love, this is the best relationship I've ever had. And everybody is like attentive and messaging you and showing you attentiveness, that's unattainable. Okay, that's unachievably unattainable for the long term. So it's not that they really changed, they just settled into who they really are, right? So that's just in that one specific case. But I want you to be aware that you have to remember that things are the way they are. They are not good, they are not bad, they just are. We attach our emotions to it, right? So I may look at something that triggers joy in me. You may look at something that triggers fear or apprehension in you. But the reality is the situation itself doesn't change. It's the same situation. I like to zip line. I love zip lining. I love adrenaline sports. It does joy for me. Well, if you're afraid of heights and you haven't processed that, because I could help you with that, but you haven't processed that, that same experience might be like, well, actually it would be very cathartic and very helpful for you, even though you wouldn't think it. But in that moment, it might be petrifying for you. But the reality is the situation is the exact same. It's just a zip line. It's not good. It's not bad. It just is. So I want you to understand that you have to give yourself time to mourn the idea of a relationship or an idea of a situation or how you had wanted it to be. Of course, that's what the 5 journals are for. Not 1, not 2, 5. And the consistency. But you are hurting yourself. Seriously, you're allowing yourself to hurt yourself by thinking that a situation should be different than it is and not accepting it for what it is. Just because you refuse to accept it and just because you want it different doesn't mean that the world is going to revolve around that and change, nor should it. Because what might not be good for you might be perfectly fine for somebody else. So it's about ego shedding. It's about dropping the ego because that is where it lives, whether it's based in fear or attachment or whatever. It doesn't matter where it comes from. It's still based in ego. And when you can respect someone, I didn't say you have to like them. But when you can respect that every individual and every situation is meant to be different, and it's meant to benefit whomever it is, right? It doesn't have to always benefit you. So I want you to get comfortable in understanding that a lot of what you're hurt on is an idea that you've created. This dialogue is up here. Maybe you watch TV. Like, I'm older, right? I'm wearing my 1970. This is supposed to be a 1 because it can be anything. I was born in 71. But I would watch Brady Bunch, which obviously the show, behind the scenes of the show, was just a complete clutter nightmare. But to the aesthetics, it was like, oh my God, look at this amazing family and everybody's supportive. And so it did a level of an injustice for me. It wasn't the show. My idea of how I wanted sort of that kind of family, maybe not 5 other siblings, but I wanted that kind of consistency and strength because I just didn't have that sort of like consistency there in the house. And so I glamorized it in my head of how I thought a family should be. And I just kept mourning and mourning and mourning the fact that it wasn't that way until you accept it. So just remember, and I wanted to hop on, I want you to give yourself a pad of paper and pen, and I want you to write down on there and say, okay, what are things that I want to be differently? Now, how can I accept it? It's not a magic pill, guys. It's not. You must lower your ego and you have to accept it for what it is. Whether you like it or you don't like it doesn't matter. It literally is what it is. And when you can get to that space and accept that, when you can accept that, that's how you know you're on your growth. When you can talk about a situation, a trauma that no longer triggers you in a negative way, that's how you can gauge where you are in your healing journey. It's not supposed to be fast. Calm down. Don't rush it. So these are important factors, but just remember, you're hurting yourself by putting an image of what you think someone should be or the way that they should live their life or a situation should be. And the reality is it's supposed to be exactly as it is. Whether you like it or not, though, is for you to process. So bring out your journals, get on it, and release the idea of what you think it should be. And you can either accept it for what it is. If it does not serve you, you can be sad, you can process your feelings, but you must release it. Always remember to release what no longer serves you.